Wait a second. You have the observant feat. You could probably see me this whole time. Fine, whatever. Let's get along to the video. Mid-maxing little, why do I even try? Hello Acolytes, welcome to the Cleric Corner. My name is Riker, and here we talk about all things Dungeons and Dragons, tapping into our higher powers to create worlds that are more unique and stories that are more impactful. Am I gonna do this whole video in my rogue makeup? Yes, absolutely, because I think I nailed the smoky eye and it needs to be appreciated. But let's get to it. Rogues in the player's handbook can be described as a variety of different skill monkeys, but many choose the route of cunning and sneakiness. Even more prioritize dexterity over brute strength. But what if your rogue was never sneaky? Or it prioritized strength over dexterity? What would that look like? What other roleplay or narrative potential does the rogue have that we may or may not have explored just yet? For this Better Classes series, I'm excited to start off with the rogue for our martial classes. My amazing patrons decided that this one was next, so as we explore the remainder of the classes, if you want to join Patreon and help decide future videos as well as support the channel, you can find the link below. Your support helps me make the best videos I can and prepare for future projects and the growth of the channel. So without further ado, I'm going to go over 10 different ways to make your rogue unique and fun. These ideas won't change the mechanics at all, but offer a story for a rogue that you may not have had yet, turning your concept from Thieves Cant to Thieves CAN. I blame that joke on the lack of parents in my backstory. But to begin, let's look at rogues instead of having proficiency or expertise in sleight of hand or stealth. What if your rogues were proficient in religion and history? If you watched the Druids Can Be Wizards 2 video from a couple weeks ago, you might be familiar with the Acolyte rogue. The rogue is a faithful follower of their god, and in return, their strikes are guided by the hand of God, flavoring their sneak attack as some sort of smite even. You could even roleplay a timid disciple that closes his eyes when it attacks a target, but somehow, some way, that dagger still makes its mark. They might think it's weird that their god chose them when they have no magic at all. Their cunning action, uncanny dodge, and evasion could also be reflavored as their god just trying to protect them, giving them a chosen one or plot armor feel. You could even be the phantom rogue and roleplay some angelic helpers, and your Thieves Cant could have some celestial ties and just be spoken within the members of your church. But if religion isn't your thing, what about botany? Some rogues may deal in poisons and even alchemy. With the botanist rogues, their proficiencies are in survival and in nature. The scout rogue fits this kind of well, but if you wanted to use any rogue, you could reflavor your daggers having a coagulant mixture on them. So when you stab someone with your weapon, the wounds keep bleeding and don't stop, explaining the extra damage that they might take. They could even take herbs to increase their focus on the battlefield, like Rhodiola rosea. These are the ones that are obsessed with the natural benefits of plants. Your average essential oils advocate. Perhaps you even scam people with fake oils and potions. Or you could take the healer feat to lean into the herbal healing. A fast hands feature might help you pass out potions. Or you could flavor uncanny dodge as a quick salve that you put on yourself as you suffer a burn from a fireball. But speaking of medicine, what if a rogue is proficient in that? You could go the doctor route, which is a great way, but what if there were other ways that they could be proficient in medicine? Let me introduce you to the Mortician rogue. Years of embalming have given you a unique perspective on the weak points of the body. You know how to cause damage, and you know which points hurt the most. You know where to push a needle, a scalpel, or a bone saw to cause the most damage. You know pressure points and nerve points to poke at to cause the enemy to slow down enough for you to dodge. You're used to death, and you even see it as natural. You might even keep around some parts of some previous patrons. Or you might be haunted by those on your embalming table. Perhaps you're on an adventure to figure out why so many have died from a particular cause. But next up, let's switch to proficiency in arcana. Of course, rogues don't cast magic unless you're an arcane trickster, so how else should we explain arcana? Well, this rogue also happens to be proficient in performance, and they put on a show to scam people out of their money. The magician rogue uses lights and misdirection to manipulate people to their good side. or they're bad if necessary. They can use smoke screens, glitter bombs, or flowers that shoot water to evade enemy attacks. They can use misdirections and distractions to land a fatal blow with the knife hidden in their cane. They could be sword swallowers or knife throwers that work hand in hand with other sword bards. This can even be your very own Sean Spencer from Psych, that through elaborate explanations and stories convinces everyone that they saved the day and used powers beyond their capabilities. Now, we'll come back to Arcana in a second, but what if your rogue is bad at something that makes a lot of rogues good? Their dexterity. Instead, you trade fast twitch for slow twitch muscles and are proficient in athletics, focusing on strength. This trope I call the Brute. It's your average alley thug, security guard, or bouncer. With this rogue, you can even be proficient in intimidation. The great thing about rogues is that they only need finesse weapons in order to get off their sneak attack, and you can use your strength modifiers for finesse weapons. Imagine your assassin rogue punching someone out with one hit with their brass knuckles. Your evasion or uncanny dodge can just be you standing in place and taking it like a man, a lot like a barbarian. Not every street dweller is a lean and scrappy rogue that we've come to know. But back to Arcana, let's say that your rogue comes from a wealthy family. No need to steal or sneak, being from money. Or they could be hiding from their money, in which case, go right ahead. But with this concept, they really don't have any street training or street cred in that case, so they turn to other means to get their abilities. The noble rogue enlists the help of a wizard that put wards on them and enchantments on their weapons. Or they could put these minor wards on themselves, being from a pristine school and having a great education. When they sneak attack, they magically do extra damage. When they evade, instead a magical shield appears and takes half the blow. If you did want to be a sneaky class, you could explain those abilities by having some sort of silence enchantment like the silence spell. This trope may thrive with the mastermind subclass, being educated in a lot of things. But I do recognize that with rogues, dexterity is a part of the charm of the subclass. So being proficient in acrobatics, let's look at the Gymnast rogue. Skilled in things like balance beams, trapeze, rock climbing, or parkour. They have these abilities purely for recreation, jumping off buildings for sport. Your flexibility gives you an edge in a fight and of course helps you evade attacks. You're a great Robin character. You're great at quick getaways and getting over tight obstacles. And the Thief Rogue might even complement some of the parkour abilities. With a few more proficiencies to go over, what if your rogue was especially good at deception or persuasion? They don't have to sneak around because their silver tongue can get them out of any situation. With the Politician Rogue, you're very good at swaying the crowd. You can convince people to give you cover or bribe people to get information. They are rogues that you don't really expect, but they always keep a dagger under their cloak because of the nature of their job. There may be many who don't agree how you are running things. You could be stealing money from the population and not picking pockets, but just going around as a tax collector and taking a percentage for your troubles. You could also be a lawyer for similar reasons, knowing the law enough to find loopholes to get you out of every situation. Now we have an interesting one, where we get to explore what a rogue looks like being proficient in animal handling. Imagine your party strolling down a forest path, and out of nowhere, a group of bandits on horseback corner you. You can't run because they're faster and would catch you. Looking back, your party knew that there was something up with that bird that kept following you. The Highwayman rogue uses animals to their advantage. They can train animals to distract guards or alert them to passersby. They may train hawks to intercept letters from homing pigeons or owls that might have some useful information. They can befriend a guard dog to get into a nobleman's home, or they can train their own dog to act out a limp and get extra food from those that pity it. Aladdin and Abu come to mind with this trope. Even more, they could be your shifty pet shop owners or their exotic animal traders. But next time you hear horse hooves coming down the street, you might want to get off the road. But with your rogue character, it may not matter what you're proficient in to you, or you can stick with the very relevant skills of stealth and sleight of hand. But if you did, why not explain those abilities in a unique way as well? With the Shadow Rogue, your abilities come not from training, but your close encounters from shadows or shades. Perhaps you were on the cusp of turning into a shadow from its strength drain. You pulled out just in time but somehow retained some ability to slink into shadows. Perhaps your stealth comes from attunement to the Shadowfell in some planar accident. Perhaps you were trained by a shade or something that was very good at stealth, like a Chewinga or Invisible Stalker. But in this way, your stealth comes with a little bit more of a magical nature. But however way you want to flavor your rogue and explain their abilities, know that there are many ways to explain their mechanics in a fun way. I just hope that this video helped spur up some imagination and creativity for your next player character or your DM's next NPC. But if you come up with other ideas for the rogue or wish to share your unique rogue that you may be playing now, let me know in the comments below. If you think this video added value to you, consider liking and subscribing. Next week, we'll be going over the infamous monks, so you don't want to miss it. In the meantime, go out there and spread the good word of D&D and make the world a better place, both on and off your tables. See you in the next one.